Hi, I'm Glo and welcome to Glo's Kindred Kitchen. Today I have decided to share with you a recipe that I have made over the years and it is very good. It is called a chocolate oatmeal cake with coffee frosting and it is delicious. So let's go ahead and get started. I went ahead and measured out most of my ingredients ahead of time and I'll tell you what I have. In this bowl here I have 1 cup of old-fashioned oats. You can also use the quick oats if you would like, but I generally just always have the old-fashioned on hand, and so that's what I'm using. And then I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have 3/4 of a cup of granulated white sugar and 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, not the dark, just the regular brown sugar. I have 1/2 cup of softened butter. I'm going to be putting in 1/2 cup of baking cocoa, and for the leavening we're doing 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and I always keep my baking soda in a little jar like this, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 2 eggs. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing that you do is with your 1 cup of oats, you pour in 1.5 cups of boiling water, and I had just taken this off and it is very hot. As you can tell, the steam is coming up. And I just stir this up. And the reason we're doing this in advance is because you want those oats to soften up while we're preparing the batter. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have just a silicone cover here, and I'm going to set that on top, and like that, and that way it'll keep the steam in there to help soften that up. I'm going to just go ahead and set that over there so it's out of our way. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start preparing the rest of the batter. So well, before we get started too, before you guys came on, I went ahead and I preheated my oven. It's at 350 degrees, just so you know. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in the butter and the sugar in this bowl so we can mix it up. And I have 1 stick of softened butter, and you can tell it's very soft.
Very soft, Miss Glo.
And I went ahead and plugged in my mixer, and I have my beaters in. Always put your beaters in your mixer before you plug in though. It's just a safety thing. And we're going to go ahead and mix this up on low to start with. Otherwise you're going to have a mess. And I always stop my beaters for a moment and I scrape. I think that's creamed enough. I'll show you. Can you see down in there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to cream it just about another minute. And I'll be back with you, and then we'll go on to the next step. Well, I went ahead and I had beaten this again for about a minute. And you can see how that's all nicely incorporated there. Then the next step is we're going to add 1 egg at a time, and I went ahead and broke 1 of them already. Make sure your eggs are at room temperature. If they're not, you can take your eggs and put them in a bowl with some, pretty warm water, not hot, to bring your eggs to room temperature. It will make your baking products come out much better. So, and it's the same with butter. Anything when you're baking, try and have it at room temperature. Unless it states something different. But See how nice that's creaming together there?
Looks good, Miss Chloe.
Yep. And so the next thing is we're going to take the last egg. And I always crack mine in a separate bowl, and that's why. See how I got an egg shell in there?
Yep.
You don't want that to go into your cake or whatever you're baking.
Nope.
Sometimes those eggs, they just don't want to crack right.
Yes.
So there we go. Wipe off my hands. You just want to beat this till the eggs are nicely combined in here. I'm just going to scrape the sides here a little. There. See how nice that is?
Nice and creamy.
Yeah. So our next step is we're going to be adding the flour. And I do about a third of it at a time. Put a little bit more in. Now I went ahead and I measured out my cocoa. There's a half a cup here, and I'm going to just start off slow with that. And I kind of stir it in first because otherwise that powder will really go all over, and we don't want that because it does make a mess.
No, we don't.
I try to prevent as many messes as I possibly can in the kitchen. You're still going to have messes and accidents, but it does help. Now let's go ahead and put some more of the cocoa in. And again, I'm going to just kind of stir it in with my hand here before I turn on the beater. Okay, we'll do the rest of the cocoa. Now we're going to do the rest of the flour. And the 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. This is a half a teaspoon right here, so. And then a half a teaspoon of the salt. There we go. And again, I'm just going to kind of stir this up a little so we don't have so much of a mess when I turn it on. how delicious that looks already.
Looks good.
And really smell the cocoa. Okay, so the oatmeal over here, I'm not sure if I said, you need to set this aside for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. I usually do 20 minutes because it really softens up the oatmeal better for us, especially being the old-fashioned oats. So anyway, I'll be back in about 5 minutes and we'll go on to the next step. Hi, well, it's been 20 minutes and let's see what our oatmeal looks like. See that? And I just have butter on here that was on my butter dish there, and that will be used up as well, so we're not wasting anything. But see how nicely that all got absorbed?
Yep, that looks good.
Yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and put that in. And I also went ahead and buttered my 9.5 by 13 pan. There we go. Just set that right here. And also I'm going to be putting in about 1 teaspoon of real vanilla, and there we go. This is a 1/2 teaspoon, so that's why I did 2 of them. Now we're just going to mix this. In the past, I did an oatmeal cake video for you guys too that had a different type of frosting on it, and it was not chocolate. And I'll put a link for that one as well in the bottom of this video for you. Both of these cakes are delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my beaters here. And just move this right over here and get it out of the way. I can use the same spatula to put the cake in the pan here. And I just used some spray, butter on this pan. I'm just making sure everything's mixed up good. So let's go ahead and move our pan here. And we'll pour this. Let me put it down here so I can get it better. Oh, it smells so good already.
Looks good too, Miss Plum.
And then with that coffee frosting on here, it's just delicious. See if I can get some more of this. It's kind of hard to do things backwards. Well, I'm definitely a right-handed person. I try to use my left hand more and more, but I'm still a righty. I'm definitely not ambidextrous. So, there we go. I can use this to scrape this off. There we go. So now I'm going to be putting this in the oven, 350 degrees, and it's going to bake for 30 to 35 minutes. So I'll be back then so we can see what it looks like. Hi, well, it's been 35 minutes and I just took this out of the oven, and I got to tell you, it smells delicious. Isn't that pretty?
Looks good.
Yep. So anyway, I'm going to let this cool, and in the meantime, we'll be making our coffee frosting together. Hi, well, now we're going to be making our coffee frosting, and let's just go ahead and get started. One of the ingredients is 1/4 cup of 1/2 and 1/2. So I went ahead and measured this in my liquid measuring cup. And to that, they call for 2 teaspoons of instant coffee. So there's 1. Let's see if I can get it. Almost the end of this jar. We're just going to go ahead and put the rest of it in. Now I'm going to stir this up and let that dissolve while we continue on with the next step. So the next ingredients that we're going to be using is a 1/2 cup of butter and 4 cups of powdered sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, a little vanilla, and just the cream along with the coffee. So I'll be right back in a moment. I just need to set up my mixer and we'll get started. Well, we're going to go ahead and start beating in the powdered sugar to this. Add some more. So this is going to take me a little bit to get all of this incorporated into this. So I'll be back with you in just a little bit towards the end so you can see what it looks like before we start adding the coffee cream to it. Hi, well, I went ahead and I have probably about 3 cups maybe of powdered sugar in here. And look how that half and half and that coffee mixed up together. I forgot to tell you that I did warm up that half and half in the microwave first. If you don't warm it up, it probably won't dissolve well in there. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit at a time into here. And we'll combine it. A little bit more. Smells like coffee. Can you guys see inside that bowl?
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and continue to add the rest of this coffee creamer and also some more powdered sugar, and I'll be back in just a little bit. Well, our frosting is done. It did take the 4 cups of powdered sugar, and look how nice that is.
Looks good, Miss Glow.
Yeah, now I'm going to taste it, and it smells like coffee, which it's supposed to. It's going to pair really well with that chocolate cake. Oh, delicious. So anyway, I'll be back after the cake completely cools and we'll frost it together. Now it's for the best part of the whole thing. After cooking this cake and frosting it, is getting to taste it. Look at this, you guys. I gotta tell you, that frosting is so creamy and tastes like coffee. Let me taste this cake. I'd forgotten how good this really is. The cake is so moist, chocolatey. You would never know it had oatmeal in it. And I like oatmeal. The perfect amount of chocolate in it. And that frosting just really tops it off. I'll tell you guys, I wish you were here. We could enjoy this cake with a lot of people. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, please give me a like and a thumbs up. And give me a comment. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please feel free to do so. We'll talk to you later. Bye.